We just started off with a riveting discussion of Chex Mix right before we went
Sure.
live here, um, in which I proceeded to call it Chex Mex, um, because I like robots, and and then we were just like, yeah, like the Chex Mex as a giant robot, the pretzel becomes the leg. So, Melissa, I want to ask you, what is your ideal Chex Mix?
Oof. Okay. Like a rice check, like a corn check. I'll take a wheat check too. They make me feel healthy. Those are
Multiple checks.
your
A
core checks.
good check variety.
Yeah. Um, I'll take a nut of some kind. Definitely an M&M or some
Yeah.
other coated candy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a little skeptical about just like the loose chips because they're gonna get melty. I'll take a small pretzel. Maybe like a different cereal piece, like throw like a
Ooh.
cinnamon toast crunch in there, really
Ooh.
spice it up. Maybe like like some dried fruit, like a little apple chip or a craisin or something.
Interesting.
Get wild about it.
See, I've thought about making my own Chex Mix stuff,
Mhm.
but I feel like I don't like enough of the pieces that a lot of normal people would want in there.
Uh-huh.
All I can think of like what I would want to put in there is, yeah, like some kind of cereal piece. I think they have some of the like little like baked garlic bread things. Like
Mm.
those are good. I like the M&Ms, but I have such a sweet tooth
Yeah.
that I'm just like, well, I could put this kind of M&Ms in there. I could put like Hershey's Kisses. I could do that, and it's just like a
Hershey's Kisses,
giant
that's
bag of
too
candy.
big.
I don't know.
That's
I'm just naming stuff, but like the
Kisses
end
too big. A
the end
kissable
result,
is perfect. If anybody out there is
or
still
like, all right,
making
fine,
kissables, the top
Reese's
candy.
Pieces. That is
Yes.
a
Yes,
totally
yes, yes.
acceptable one. My point is, it would just end up becoming a giant bag of candy.
With like a couple pretzels in there.
Yeah, like you
A
know how.
candy featuring pretzels.
So you know how we were watching Mr. Robot, and they get the giant like movie popcorn, and they put the M and
Yes,
M's on top of it and like shake it in. It would
I
be
did
that,
that.
but the opposite ratio, where it would just be a giant box of M and M's with like 10 pieces of popcorn in there.
10 loose popped corns. I don't like that.
What's
Popcorn's
up,
best in a
everybody?
group. I I just want to say that I feel like if you have that little popcorn, something is wrong. Like if you start with a lot of popcorn, eventually you're gonna get down to there's 10 pieces left, and then I'm gonna eat those, and there's none popcorn. But just to see like just like 10 on their own, like orphans, like the boxcar children. I don't like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 102 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by Melissa Wilkinson.
Certainly.
Melissa, you
Yes.
you you are not a fan of 10 popped corns just hanging out there in the.
You can have 10, but as long as it's part of a larger group, too few popcorn, I don't know, it just
Right, so if
unsettles me.
it is popcorn allowed in Chex Mix?
It's
Or
allowed for the kind of Chex Mix that you would set out for a party where you know it's all gonna be eaten in, like, the next hour and a half before the popcorn gets
okay,
stale.
I was gonna say, or you have to do like some like caramel popcorn or something where it's a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
more
you can cover a corn.
candified,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Interesting. Then I have to make all that caramel corn, and I don't know, hard work making a Chex Mix. Melissa, how was your week been?
It's fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I so we did not record last week. It was 4th of
Yeah.
July weekend. I was also not feeling super great that day that
Mhm.
we were supposed to record. I was just like, it's 4th of July weekend. Let's just take the weekend off. So here we are. Last episode, we did our first annual, or I guess our inaugural, trivia night here on the Captain's Log, and Ignacio, who helps to co-host Crossplay, our video game podcast. He joined us for our trivia night, and I got my ass whooped
Yes.
in trivia night.
Yes.
Which is really funny because you made a lot of those questions, especially the like 90s themed ones, geared towards me, and I did terrible on them. They were like, from the 90s, what happened here? Who did this? What was this thing? And I was just like, oh god, I don't know.
you, they were so 90s and quite American. So,
Yeah.
so, so yeah, Ignacio came in at the last minute at a disadvantage, but yes, thoroughly defeated you in this round of trivia.
Yeah. But that was good. That was fun. That was a new tradition that I'm hoping that we can do every year now here at the Whatnauts, at the Captain's Log, or I guess on the Captain's Log, because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I'm hoping for more things like that here and there, sprinkled in, like those 10 popped corns, right?
10. Yeah.
every now and then you just have to like switch it up and do something fun, like, hey, let's do a trivia night, or we have our Halloween tradition now that we'll get our second chance at doing this year, of just like, let's take a story that we talked about, some kind of anecdote that we mentioned here on the podcast, and turn that into a horror story. How do we make that work? That's good. That's fun. But we need some more. Need some more stuff. We'll figure them out. We'll think of them. I'm cooking up some stuff. I'm popping some corn, as the kids might say.
Okay.
But
all right.
I'm in a good mood.
That's good. That's good to hear of.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, this week has been easy, I feel like.
Right.
Work has been real slow for me, which is a good thing. The semester is officially done. It has been for a little bit now, but now work is also starting to like slow down, and do all of that stuff. So that's good. But I've also like, I've had to fill that time up with, what do? I need to do something. And so I've been still watching a ton of TV. I've been catching up on all of the like CW, DC comic shows. I did all of the...
Are you still doing those? Because I feel like you've been talking about that for 4 weeks. Have they solved that crisis yet?
So I watched... So yeah, that's what I did in previous weeks, is watched all of the shows up until that cross over. And then within the past 2 weeks, I watched the Crisis on Infinite Earths cross over, which was fantastic. And then I finished watching Supergirl, and I finished watching The Flash, and I finished watching Arrow, which only had 2 more episodes after that because they had a short season. But yeah, so I did that. I still have Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow to watch. But I took a break in between that to watch Dark Season 3.
Okay.
And that's what I'm watching right now. I have 2 episodes left in Season 3. And holy moly, Melissa, that show is so good. I've mentioned it once or twice here on the show before, that it's a good show, and I think there's been once that I've mentioned it. There's like, it has a couple things in common with Lost.
Yeah.
And yeah, holy moly, this show is good, and it's hitting all of the right buttons for me. It has all of the like time travel stuff that I love, but all of the characters are intertwined and connected. And I just got done with episode 6 in season 3. And in a normal show, that would have been the season finale. It was just like, what is going on? This is wild and ridiculous. This is crazy.
Mhm.
And there's more episodes after this? Oh my god. But like the mystery is so good. I don't know. It's so good, Melissa. I
Okay.
think you would love this show because of how well it does all of the like all the characters are intertwined. And while this person was doing this thing, you didn't know it, but in the next room there was this other character and all of that stuff, and it's just like, holy, it's so good, so good. Melissa, go watch that show.
I
You're listening
well
out there,
here's
go watch that show.
well here's the deal, Kyle.
Uh-huh.
Right now you and I are watching a program called Mr. Robot,
Yes.
which is going to be very hard to beat for me. I'm after we finish Mr. Robot, I'm going to need to take a break from mini dramas for a while cuz they
Okay.
are all going to pale in comparison to Mr. Robot.
Ooh, I don't know
It
about
will
this one, but
ah
it's still so different. Like this is one that I don't think I could compare to Mr. Robot at all. There is some
mm,
like mystery to Mr. Robot of just like what are they planning, right?
yeah.
But this is one of those like, yeah, have you been to like a summer camp thing where they're like, okay, there's a group of like 50 people here, all get in a big bunch and hold hands with one person and then with someone else, and then you guys have to like untie yourselves, right? That's what this show is.
Okay.
In a weird way. It is a giant
Okay.
knot, and it is like slowly untangling itself. Or like it starts out what you think is like super complicated or like super simple, and then it gets complicated, and then it starts to be like, okay, I think I understand this, and then they twist it, and it's just like, oh god, no, I don't understand a thing. What is happening? But yeah, and it is just like this big knot that you are like trying to unravel and like figure out and solve. Just like, now, how does this work? What is going on here?
Is each character only one person?
Uh, I mean, it's a time travel show, so you get to see
Okay.
characters when they're young, when they're middle aged, and when they're old, um, and stuff like that. But so like you do get to see them at different times in their lives, but they also live in this small town in Germany
Mm,
where people don't really go anywhere, so it's all of the same characters and stuff like that, and it just has that like sci-fi Stranger Things vibe mixed with good time travel stuff, and it is wild. So
okay.
interesting stuff. But yeah, Mr. Robot is good. But I'm right now it's like neck and neck, but they're so different that I'm just like, it's hard to compare those ones.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I will consider this for the future.
It's into
K- Kyle, what I have been watching on Netflix this week is The Babysitters Club.
now. Remind me what this is, because I feel like I've heard of this, and I want to say that this is an '80s movie, but I don't feel like it would take you a whole week to watch that movie, if that makes sense.
Are
So
you
this
thinking of
must be a show.
Adventures in Babysitting?
That might be it. Adventures in
The
Babysitting,
80s
classic
movies. There's
'80s
one with
movie.
babysitting. There's one with a club. That's it.
Right? Yeah. Mix the two together, and you got yourself a whole new '80s movie.
These were my favorite books when I was a little kid, like when I was
That's
8
where I've
years
heard the
old.
name, the Babysitter. Okay,
Yes.
because I was like,
The
I've
young
heard this
adult
name.
chapter books. Yes. They were, I believe, aimed at like middle school, high school
Mm-hmm.
girls. I was reading them when I was 8 years old. I had to get a slip signed by my mom because they at the when the bookmobile would come to our school, those were on the 3rd grade shelf, and I was in 2nd
Bookmobile?
grade.
You had a whole mobile made out of books.
You
like the
know the
like the
bookmobile, right?
No, we didn't have a bookmobile.
I thought everybody had a bookmobile.
We
It's
had
just an
we had book fairs where like
yeah,
our library would
yeah,
be transformed. We had that like scholastic catalog where we could like
yeah.
order stuff, but this sounds like a pop-up shop. Like Batman showed up in his bookmobile and he's like, "Hey kids, books, read or you'll become like me."
I don't think a lack of reading was ever Bruce Wayne's problem.
You
The
never know.
bookmobile. Yeah, Joe Chill killed his parents because he never finished reading Treasure Island.
God damn it, Bruce, read a book. No, so
The
what is a
bookmobile.
bookmobile?
It's an RV that the library owns and is filled with books. It's a library on
Wow.
wheels, and it. What do you mean how?
I said wow.
Oh, good. So you understand the concept. We're getting
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Okay.
still, how? Like, why would your school think to just, hey guys, let's buy an RV?
The school didn't own it. The local library system owned it.
Okay. Well,
So we
still
have a
weird.
school, and our school has a library, and there's a public library nearby. But the public library system has this RV that drives around, and you can rent a book from there. The books come to you.
Man.
So anyway, the
Okay.
Babysitters Club was on the 3rd grade shelf. Or maybe it was
Ooh.
even farther above that.
How
But I remember
risque.
I was in 2nd grade and my mom had to write them a letter saying, "No, I know what she's reading. It's the Babysitters Club. Let her rent the Babysitters Club." Because all the book series is like a bunch of 7th, 8th grade girls that form a club to babysit children in their charming Connecticut small town.
I remember that. I don't know how many of them I read or if I really read them,
Mhm.
but I do remember them now.
I was obsessed with these when I was a kid. These were like my first fandom, I guess you could say. I had everything tracked. I knew all the characters, all their backstory, their family members, their hobbies,
Had
the
some big
continuity of the
big
thing.
chart being like, okay, and so Cindy was over here while Shannon was over there.
There's no plots. There's barely any plots at all, but I'm certain I like bored an aunt by telling her about how much I loved Claudia Kishi. Yeah, but there were these books I loved as a kid. I didn't I stopped reading them by the time I was the actual age of the girls in the book because I burned through all of them by the time I was 9, 10.
You got
So
to that age and you're like, "Ugh, my life is nothing like theirs."
yeah, I'm still not as cool as they were. That's still the goal. I didn't think about them for years until I was ordering something from Barnes& and Noble the other week, and they just had a
Hmm.
blog post saying, "Hey, Babysitters Club series coming to Netflix." Like, there is? And, like, all my childhood delight just, like, amped up again. Like, I miss those
Man,
girls. I wanna see those girls again. And Kyle, I gotta tell you, this is one of the best adaptations I've ever seen,
really?
legitimately. Yeah, it's so true to everything I remember, down to the tiniest little details, but also
That's
like
so good.
updated and modernized and diversified. And it feels like it's something that like hits me nostalgically and is gonna hit for a lot of girls the actual ages of the characters right now.
So
I'm happy it exists.
is this more like a slice of life kind of thing? Because I'm still in my mind being like it's somehow like an '80s action adventure. Like
Oh, none.
they're still somehow looking for lost treasure or something. I don't
They
know.
only did that in the Babysitter's Super Books, which these were like comic book annuals. You know, like once a year, the Fantastic
It's
Four would go on a bigger adventure.
like the Avengers where all the babysitters team up to babysit one giant baby.
Yeah, the big baby from Spirited Away.
Yeah.
God, I wish it worked like that. The children get literally larger.
Amazing.
No, like every book would just be a babysitting adventure and then something in their personal lives or like something at school, something very minor like
So it is more
uh
slice of life.
yeah, it's not there is
Okay.
no drama. This isn't Sweet Valley High, Kyle. This is stuff like I'm not sure how I feel about my mom remarrying after the divorce, but now I've spent some more time with her boyfriend and I do like him after all. Like this is as much drama as anything has.
Wow.
It's
I
it's
like
very simple.
interesting. I like
But they would have these books. They'd have like I said, kinda like a comic book annual that they'd be
uh-huh.
twice as thick. Instead of focusing on one girl, it would like rotate point of view throughout the entire club. And then it would be like we have
So
to solve
funny.
a small mystery. Or like we're all going on a ski vacation.
How did the baby get so big?
Baby too big.
That's funny. So so yeah, so like the adaptation then on Netflix, is it the same thing? Is it still just like slice of life? Here's a babysitter babysitting a baby.
Yeah. It's great.
Interesting.
It's
That's
exactly
so
what I
funny.
needed right now.
Man. Okay, okay, good stuff. How it's I'm guessing there's like 13-ish
There's
episodes.
10
10?
episodes, which
Okay.
isn't enough for me. But hopefully they're gonna come back with like, another 10 or a dozen or more.
There
I
you
hope
go.
this does well. Like, yeah, I have no
Is
concept
this
of it. I
live action or
it
animated?
is it is live action, yes.
Interesting. Real live babies.
Live babies.
I can just see the neon signs out now. Live babies.
Did you know that babies used to be an exhibit at old-timey carnivals and Coney Islands and world fairs?
No.
Okay. There was a guy who invented I just watched like 2 history videos on this on YouTube from the theme park channels I follow.
I was
There's a
gonna say,
guy
like
who invented
at least you can write it off by saying I was looking up theme park videos, not like history of baby fact videos.
history of babies. Where'd they come from?
Where did they go?
Wait a minute, are you telling me I was a baby? I don't buy this. I don't remember being a baby.
I have no memory of this.
You're lying. I've always been a spinster ghoul. There was a guy who had invented these incubators for premature babies.
Okay.
Like there would be a baby who would be born prematurely. He would work it out with the parents. Like I will take your baby and I will care for them in this incubator. I've got nurses round the clock watching your baby. You can come visit at any time. And to help offset the cost of this is going to be like a touring show that I go set up somewhere. Like there's a World's Fair. You know, a World's Fair lasts like a year, a very long time
Yeah.
back in the day. It takes a long time for a world to get somewhere. So he'd set up like an exhibit at the World's Fair, or like I said, at Coney Island. This was a Coney Island exhibit.
It's just so weird
You
to
can just
me
like
that they
pay
would.
a dime and then walk around and look at the little babies in their incubators, these small babies, and see the nurses care for them and learn about the process. And your dime helps pay for these babies' futures.
I mean, in a weird way, I guess that makes sense. Of
Mhm.
to just like, hey, we figured out a way to keep them alive better and longer. Here's how we're doing it. Here's a way that you can see it. Like that makes
Mhm.
sense, but it's still just it's weird to just be like, live
Come,
babies.
come see a baby you don't know.
Come one, come all. $5 a person.
And as the thing went on, it would, uh, they'd have other activities like, we're having a reunion, a class reunion of the first group of babies now, 18 years later.
Oh my god, that's wild.
Graduating class of the incubator exhibit. I forget the
That's
name of the
wild.
thing. Yeah.
Did you hear about this thing? This is you kind of reminded me of this when you said their reunion. there was
Mm,
supposedly, not opposedly, though I'm sure if people knew as it was happening, they would be very opposed. Apparently, there
mhm,
was some kind of experiment thing going on somewhere in the world. I think here in the United States, but apparently there were like a bunch of twins that have been like separated at birth and just were never told that they were twins and
mhm.
stuff like that. And they were just told, like, you were adopted, like blah blah blah, and that's it. That's all they know. And then like one of them somehow found their other twin and just didn't know and was just like, it's that like Spider-Man meme, right? Where it's just like, uh, uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, and they figured it out, and that they were like a part of this thing, that a whole bunch of of twins were separated at birth, and none of them were told, and stuff like that.
I
I, I've heard that on multiple occasions from
mm.
different sources.
I've heard about things like that being studied after the fact, like,
Uh
oh,
huh.
these twins were separated at birth, and how funny. They both married women named Jane and had sons named Henry and worked at the same type of job and bought the same kind of car. I've heard about retroactive studies, but I've not heard of some spooky scientist somewhere just going, bring me all of your twins. I send one to the east and one to
One
the
to the
west.
west.
Kyle, I don't know why we have not seen uh, a a meeting of the twins mega film featuring the Sprouses, uh, the Maoris, any other twins you may name, Army Hammer and Digital Double Army Hammer from the Social Network. There's
Okay.
more twins. The Olsens, should they care to come out and act again. I don't know what they're doing, but
Lindsay
just a
Lohan and her other Lindsay
right.
Lohan.
Right, I want a movie that's nothing but every twin you've ever heard of, and they have to solve some giant twin problem, which I don't know what that is.
The
Maybe
Twin
it's this.
Vengers.
Right.
Oh God,
This seems like
that'd
it
be a
should have already
horror
been a
story.
Disney. It feels like it should have already been a Disney Channel original movie. I hope
That'd
this
be
is
an
something Disney
interesting one.
Plus is working on right now. It's like, okay, we did movies with the Maoris, we did
Yeah.
movies with the Sprouses. Now we bring them all together.
Mm-hmm. God, that'd be wild. I don't know. I've been since I've been watching a lot of the like
Mm,
DC superhero shows. I've been thinking a whole bunch about like superpowers and time travel and stuff like that.
yeah.
So Melissa,
Okay.
what superpower would your arch nemesis have?
Now, am I inventing a nemesis for myself, whole cloth?
Yes, just like if you just like imagine yourself as a superhero, or who knows like who would your arch nemesis be? What would their powers be and stuff
What
like
are
that?
my powers to begin with?
It doesn't like it doesn't really matter. I just felt that the like, Melissa, if you had superpowers, what were your superpowers be? Which was just too simple.
Okay,
It
right.
was
It's this
right.
is trite.
Yeah, this is trite, but just like switch it up. What powers would your arch nemesis have?
Mm.
Your homegrown supervillain.
Ah, they'd have to. Well, I don't even know what I am for them to foil against me.
Just
Maybe
think of
they're
who
like,
you are deep down.
ah, maybe they're like really destructive.
Okay.
'Cause, like, we've talked about how lately all I do is clean. All I
Yeah.
do is clean. I clean and I organize and I decorate little things, and I've become very fastidious about caring for my home. So I believe my nemesis would just be like a Tasmanian devil, just a whirlwind, just really destructive,
Interesting.
no care for anything. Just yeah, just careless, just reckless, just punching holes in the wall indiscriminately.
I can picture your or like your like ideal image of like the perfect housewife who has like gone insane and is now the like Tasmanian devil, like you said, and is just destroying things. When I thought about what I thought your arch nemesis would be, I thought super
Yeah.
strength, and they
Uh-huh.
specifically had a vendetta against shopping malls, and they were just destroying all of the shopping malls.
Oh, they're struggling enough on their own as it is.
Right, and I know how much you love to just like go to a shopping mall and like go buy something and hang out and have a good day just out at the mall, and this would,
Yes.
like, their whole goal in life is to just ruin that. So that's what I
That
thought.
that would be my ultimate foil. What about yourself? Who is your enemy?
Uh, well, I asked my girlfriend what she thought, and she thought my arch nemesis would have telepathy.
Ah.
And could like read my mind because she was like, "You're always so smart, and if they can read your mind, then they'll know what you're thinking, and they can foil all of your plans and all of that stuff." I was like, "That's good." Uh, Personally, I came up with they were a technopath. They could control technology.
They can hack into this cyberpunk robot arm you're eventually going to get, and then your own
Basically,
arm's
yeah.
going to turn against you.
Just this whole idea of like, I love technology, and if they're using it for a like bad purpose, I'd be like, boo on you! Stop this! What are you doing? Shame on you!
Access denied. Unauthorized.
Access denied.
Payment not
404.
accepted.
Like controlling technology or something like that.
Do you
That's what I thought
have
of.
anybody in your real life that you think of as your nemesis?
Newman. No, I don't, because I get along with most people, but I'm also kind of a recluse, so I don't really interact with many people.
You're the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in a very different meaning of the word.
Yeah. Yeah, like because I don't like going to parties or out to like social spaces and stuff like that. Like if I do that, I want it to be a more like intimate setting where it's just like, hey, there's like 3 or 4 of us, and it's just us sitting down, hanging out, talking and stuff like that. Like I don't want to go to someone's party and there's like 60 people there and the music is so loud, and I'm sitting there like, do you have a recycling bin? Do you and they just like I don't like that, because I would just rather like sit there and people watch and stuff like that. So I don't know, but like when I do socialize, like I tend to get along with people, and I just have always like I like talking with people and stuff like that, but not in that kind of setting. So
I like a big party, but I like when it's a big party that has some sort of central activity and a moderate volume. Unnecessarily loud music anywhere is among my top pet peeves.
right.
I don't understand how anybody lives their lives this way. I don't know how this keeps happening. The people keep going places and saying this music is too loud. Why isn't this a problem we've solved? This seems easy.
I don't know why no one has thought of like a themed bar, and the whole theme is that the music is at half volume.
Ought to be.
Right? I know. Sam is in the chat. What's up, Sam?
Hi,
How are
Sam.
you doing? To answer your question, Sam, every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time is usually when we go live. Kind of around there. We don't always hit exactly at 9, but that's when you can catch us streaming this podcast here on Twitch, twitch.tv/.
We're trying.
Whatnauts. Yeah, we had some issues with our Twitter. because I also tweeted out to be like, "Hey, we're going live in a sec here," and for some reason, Twitter didn't want to send out the tweet, so I had to do a whole different tweet. I think that one worked, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was some that that's how our whole discussion on Chex Mix at the start
Yeah.
got started, because we had a gif of a guy eating a bag of Chex Mix, but he was in a costume of a giant check. What is the singular of a Chex Mix?
I I don't know. What?
Did
Well,
they
maybe
have
it's,
a
it's like maybe it is Chex. It's like moose.
yeah? Or I'm thinking of all the like Tetris pieces. Like they all have their own name, the
Hot
Tetraminos and stuff
Ricky.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what their name is. What is the singular of Chex Mix? If Google, what's the singular form of Chex, as in Chex Mix? Yahoo Answers. Okay, we're bound to get something. Um, well, the one that they marked as the favorite answer with one thumbs down is Czech, spelled Czech. Uh, Chex Mix describes a whole group of different things, so maybe you should just say a piece of Chex Mix. I don't like that one. Someone says it's like fish. The plural and the singular are the same. One Chex, two Chex, three Chex, four. Okay, yeah. There you go. Anyways,
Al, what is your breakfast cereal of choice?
oh man,
Have we talked about this? Because
I
I
don't
feel
think
like you've
so.
chastised me before for being into just a plain rice check as a favorite cereal.
I mean, I don't think I have, but I would have if I had known that. uh, I think my all-time favorite is Reese's Puffs, but
Peanut butter chocolate flavor.
yeah, normally I go with either cinnamon toast crunch, frosted flakes, or
Mmm.
Captain Crunch the berries one. The Captain Crunch berries. There you go. That one.
It's no longer a mistake. Intentionally, all
Yes.
berries. Berries on purpose. Highlights. Berries with a purpose.
Yeah, so those are like usually the three that I get, because I feel like those are the
Mhm.
most edible, whereas Reese's Puffs actually does often feel like a dessert or more like a snack rather
Mhm.
than a part of a balanced breakfast. But I don't know. That's just me.
Mhm. I've been eating a lot of cinnamon toast crunch lately.
It's good. Good
And
stuff.
as I've said, I love a plain rice check because it is a reset for my palate.
See, I would have to like take at least a spoonful of sugar and just sprinkle it
No,
on top.
I don't blame you, but I do not need it. I think they're fine as they are. I use a rice check for when I've had too much of anything. Like when you've been snacking all day and you're like, I've had too much salty stuff, savory stuff,
I mean, that's kind
cheese.
of almost what they were for, right? You know what the original like corn frolic was invented for, right?
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
to stop masturbation
yeah,
through the power of cornflakes.
yeah. So I like just a plain old rice check. I feel like is the same thing, just in a different form. It's a
It
palate
just gets my mouth
cleanser.
to calm down. I don't like, when you're hungry, but you've had too much of everything already that day, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have any more sugar. I shouldn't have any more of anything. Like a plain flat rice check. I can eat it. I won't be hungry anymore. And I feel like it resets my clock back to 0,
Hmm.
and I can start again in my life after I've had a bowl of rice checks.
Rice Chex gives me a second chance at life.
It takes me back to home. It's like when you go to if you went to like a store that sold like perfumes or candles or something.
Okay.
They always have a little jar of just coffee beans that you smell to like clear your nose palate out so
Yeah.
that like you're not mixing all the scents together. It's like you smell the coffee and you're fixed and you can start again with another candle or cologne. This is what a rice check does for
Okay.
you.
Okay. It's a system reset.
Mm.
What's your least favorite then? What one will you like? This is disgusting. Who thought of this?
No cereal is disgusting. I gotta say, I don't understand the appeal of the non-marshmallow parts of a Lucky Charms, but I don't think that's a new opinion.
That's see to me that's the same thing as like plain Cheerios.
Right.
I just ugh. They're so gross. But I think the ones that I hate the most are those like the like woven wheat squares. I don't even remember what they're the fucking called. The like wheat checks or
Yeah.
Weetabix
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Something like
I don't
that.
know. Those are I hate those. Those are so gross.
Oh
At least the
man.
ones that have the like frosted sugar have that to like
Mhm.
cover them.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about a frosted mini wheat that is not
Yeah.
frosted.
Yes.
Okay. Oh
Unfrosted
yeah,
mini
I
wheats. Those
understand
are
that.
not
Yeah.
good. I don't
What
like
are
those.
those for? You
Um
just reminded me that when I was in high school, our mom would eat this off-brand cereal that was literally just called crispy hexagons.
yes. Thank you for coming out tonight. We are the Crispy Hexagons, and we're here to play you a song.
Crispy,
Thank you.
crispy hexagon is my favorite Tetris piece.
Yeah. Oh man, the Crispy Hexagons. That's terrible.
What do your parents eat?
My mom and dad were never cereal people. They never really ate that stuff.
Kyle, I have a laundry list of weird things my mom has eaten.
The like one snack that like I haven't really seen anyone else do it. I've seen like one or two other people do it. So
Okay.
I know it's like, okay, it's not just my family. Like it's an actual thing, but it's
Mhm.
been so like few and far between that it's still just like I'm pretty sure this was a weird thing we did. We made this snack. It
Mhm.
was graham crackers. We just literally called it graham crackers and milk, and we crushed them up together until it made this like oatmeal like paste, and we would just eat that, and it was good. Like it was not bad at all.
Yeah, that sounds okay.
But that was a snack that
It's
we would do.
it
Just like, can we
seems
just
like
have
that should be
graham
the
crackers and milk?
first step. That seems like that should be the first step in making something else.
Right?
Like, I don't know if you should do that and then stop and just eat it.
So we're gonna make the rest of the crust or no?
Deconstructed crust. Oh, I did have a frozen pie crust in my freezer and I found it this week and it was like all like it had gotten smashed by other stuff we
Oh
put in the
no.
freezer, so it was all in like little pieces and it wasn't usable as a crust anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I just baked the pieces and I just had like crust chips. I put an egg wash on them. I sprinkled on some of that like crispy, like the sugar and the
Crust
raw.
chips.
Yeah,
Good
I
old
just
bag
ate
of crust chips.
I just ate crust chips. And then my roommate came home and I'm like, I made crust chips. She's like, that sounds amazing. I want crust chips.
That sounds.
So I'm not alone.
I have to say that sounds like one of the things you do when you're like severely depressed and it's like 4 a.m. and
No.
you can't sleep. You just can't do anything with your life, and you're just like, I'm gonna make crust chips.
God, this
Can't even
was 7
keep it.
p.m. It was 7 p.m. and I did this.
That works. Have I told you the story about Paul, the co-founder of the Whatnauts? And I came home one night. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning, and he's in the living room in his underwear watching Battlestar Galactica, eating like a hot pocket or something. But he was just like 5 feet away from the TV, just like glued
Paul.
to it. I just stopped and I looked at him and I was like, Paul, this is your life. Like, this is what you're doing with your life. And he was like,
You need
shut
to
up,
reset.
I hate this. Yeah.
You need some emotional rice checks.
He was just like, shut up, I know, I hate this. But I love this show, it's so good. He goes back to eating his Hot Pocket or something.
For me, I think that feeling is eating a bag of microwave popcorn while I'm driving.
Okay.
Well, where I'm on my way out somewhere and I'm like, oh, I should eat first. I don't have any time. I'm going to microwave popcorn and just eat it and try and handle my steering wheel with a butter hand.
Oh, man.
Okay. But one time I saw my mom cook a can of green beans.
Okay.
And she opens the can of green beans. She puts the green beans in a pot on the stove to warm and cook them. And then she's got like liquid left in the bottom of the can, and she just drinks the liquid, Kyle.
I had to swallow my sip of water really fast before you said the rest of that, because I knew if I was in like mid sip, it would have been a spit take.
Yeah, she drank green bean juice once.
No!
She's always putting small.
Why, Melissa's mom? Why?
I think because she doesn't want to be wasteful. I don't understand how she thinks.
Like,
She's putting.
I don't like
she always
green
puts
beans. So green bean juice is like the worst of the worst for me.
Yeah, I do understand that. I enjoy a green bean. One of our most casserolable foods. My mom's always putting small amounts of snacks loose in the fridge. So you'll find a plastic bag that I think will have just like a handful of green beans in it, or like 3 grapes.
3 grapes.
Or like a couple tablespoons of mashed potatoes she thought was worth saving.
Actually, I
when
think
she
we
wants
have
to
something
take
like
food,
that in our freezer. I think one of my roommates made some mashed potatoes and like saved it in like a plastic bag. I think they made it at someone else's house, and that's why they were like, I want to take some home, but I don't have Tupperware, so they put some in a plastic bag, and then I think they put it in the freezer and then just left it there.
Starter
so it's
potato.
a Ziploc bag of frozen mashed potatoes.
You open it up, you mix that with others, it becomes a mother mashed potato.
Oh man.
When my mom is not done eating at a restaurant, when she is done eating and she's got food she wants to take home, she rarely asks for a container.
Uh-huh.
She just wraps it up in a bunch of napkins and puts it in her purse.
No.
Or her coat pocket. Because she's always wearing a coat.
What does she do when she gets a soup? You can't put that in napkins.
I've seen her finish soup. One time she told me that when she was a little girl and it was her birthday, and her family would be like, Anne, you can have anything you want for your birthday dinner, for your meal together with the family. Dream big, Anne. What do you want? All she wanted was just ham and bean soup.
Wow.
My favorite mom food story is our family's going on a road trip. We're just going to go see our grandparents like 2-3 hours away. And I'd like eaten some breakfast when I got up that morning, but most of the rest of the family hadn't before we set out. So they stop at like a Jack in the Box or somewhere to get breakfast sandwiches.
Sure.
And I'm sitting in the front seat and she turns around and she's like, it's been a while since you've eaten breakfast. Do you want half of my sandwich? And I'm like, yeah, I will take half of your sandwich. I was imagining she would take this breakfast sandwich and like kind of tear it in half. And instead, she cracks it open and just hands me one of the buns.
Oh no.
One of the buns with half of whatever it is on it. So it's like if it was like a ham and
It's
egg,
not even just
she's
like
got
cut in
bun and
half. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna take off the top half and see what sticks, and that's what you get.
that's what I got. Yeah, so she had like, I don't know, bun and ham, and I had like bun and egg.
Oh
I'll let God decide what kind of sandwich you have today.
no! Oh, that was great.
This is one of her favorite family stories. We decided that if us three siblings ever drifted together and piloted a Jaeger, so we're naming our Jaeger as half a sandwich.
That is phenomenal. Okay, so now I have to share some mom food stories.
Okay.
Um, I don't have ones that I feel like are that good. Most of the stuff is just like bad things that have happened to my mom while at a restaurant, or just like weird things that she does. Like one of my dad and I's pet peeves is that my mom doesn't have much of an appetite, and so she'll order something, and the first thing she does is substitute a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And she makes it really complicated. She goes, okay, well, instead of this mustard, I want that, but can you put like half as much as you normally do, and then can you put the beans on the side? Can you make the toast wheat instead of white? Is that okay? And it's just like some
Mm.
weird, all these substitution stuff. And then she gets that, and the first thing she does is go for my dad's food. She goes, oh, that looks good. Can I have a bite? And she just reaches for that and starts to eat that. And then she will barely eat like half of her food, her actual thing that she got. Most of the time, she's just sitting there like moving it around and stuff. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, I understand if you want to eat half and be like, okay, I'm full, like that's it. But like, she takes her time with it and is just like moving it around, like looking for like a certain piece of lettuce or something. It's just like, what is this? But then we have like tons of stories where like there was one time we took my mom to God, I believe the restaurant was called the Melting Pot. It's a
Yeah,
fondue
the fondue
restaurant. Yeah,
place. That's
we
fancy.
took her there for Mother's Day, so of course it was packed. And oh God, this restaurant was so slammed with work. They had no time to clean anything. And this restaurant was a mess. There was food all over the floor. It was horrible. But my mom was like, it's all right. The food is good. We're having fondue. It's a fun time. But instead, the whole time, my dad and I are like the DVD screensaver thing when you're hoping the thing just like goes
Oh.
right into the corner, but it like never hits, and it just like barely hits the side, and then bounces off and stuff. There was this like string of tomatoes that we were hoping the waiters would step on, and me and my dad
Oh.
were both just like eagerly watching it, hoping that someone would step on it and slip. And eventually someone did, and we both were just like, yes, like, yeah, it happened. But we just like completely started not paying attention to my mom, and she was just over there having fun with her fondue.
Aw.
And then we took her to Red Robin one time. I want to say it was after like one of my soccer games or something back in like middle school or something. And we all got milkshakes and stuff like that. We had our milkshakes. We were getting ready to leave. And I got up, and I think I went to go unlock the car or something. My dad gave me the keys or something. So I left, and I didn't see what happened. But apparently, by time my dad stepped out, or I think my dad was on the inside, my mom was on the outside. My mom stepped out, and immediately when she stepped out, she tripped a waiter who then dumped an entire milkshake all over her.
Oh,
And so she had to go to the bathroom and clean it up and all of that stuff. And meanwhile, I'm just like outside in the car waiting. Like, what happened? Like, I'm sitting there waiting for like 20 minutes. Yeah, just like abandoned. That's fine. I had my
left you the car,
my
Kyle.
phone.
You'll be fine out there.
Yeah.
This is your inheritance. We can't
I don't
give
know.
you the car.
It was just, but then yeah, my dad walks up just laughing hysterically, like, "Your mom just got an entire milkshake spilled all over her." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" We have stuff like that. Or I remember this one was good. I remember one time we went to go see some movie as a family, and we got the snacks, and we're about to we're at the person who like does the tickets and is like, okay, theater 9 is down the hall and on the left, and we're standing there like 5 to 10 feet away from the guy. Like, we're in earshot, but far enough that we could kind of have our own conversation and stuff. But my mom has her bag of popcorn and stuff, and then she goes to get some napkins, and my mom will not stop getting napkins. She's on like her like 10th or like 11th 12th. She's getting the whole thing, and then my dad goes, "Just take the whole thing, why don't you?" He goes, just take the whole thing. Why don't you? And the ticket guy heard my dad just busts out laughing because he's watching her to do the thing too. Oh my god, it was so funny. We couldn't stop laughing. It's making me cry. It's so funny. My poor mom. We picked on her so much. It was hilarious.
Oh, Mom. I miss mine and other moms.
Yeah.
I don't go. Like, I keep in touch with my friends, but if I don't go to their houses, I don't see their moms.
Yeah.
I have like no mom energy around me.
I'm having a good laugh. My face hurts. I'm tearing up. I'm crying. Good old moms.
Good old moms.
Yeah. Speaking of bad things that happened to your mom, the Batman movie apparently has that's a segue to end all segues. Oh my god, boy tears, I'm crying. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm on this podcast, but I've just been in such a good mood, and I've been laughing hysterically at things the entire time. This is exactly what I needed.
Did you eat any other mysterious cookies that your roommates baked?
No, I had a pot pie, but not that kind of pot. I don't know. I swear I am not high.
I know I was just talking about eating crust chips, but I can't imagine eating a pot pie in the middle of July.
Hey man, it's food. I like pot pie. At least pot pie is like a complete thing. This was like a sad crust that you were like, well, I gotta do something with this.
I salvaged it. I made dessert where before there was none.
I am just like, my face, I'm leaking from my face.
Do you think Batman comes home after fighting crime at the end of a long night and he microwaves a pot pie.
If Alfred was not there, yes.
Oh my god. He doesn't know how to do anything without Alfred there. Yeah, if Alfred goes to visit like his sister for the week, Bruce is just like, I don't want Postmates to know. Postmates won't make it to the Wayne Manor. I'm up on a spooky hill.
What he would do
I
is
mean,
he would Postmate it to like Catwoman, and then he'd call up Selena. He'd be like, Selena, can you deliver that to me? I don't want them to know it was me. No,
just call the rest of the Super Friends like, wow, Clark, it sounds like Lois is making a great dinner tonight. Boy, Lois is such a great cook, Clark.
yeah.
Just trying to get invited over.
Yeah. No, so did you see this thing? I think it came out like today or yesterday or something. But
I haven't seen anything.
apparently this new Batman movie that's supposed to come out, HBO Max just greenlit a TV show spinoff of that movie focusing on the Gotham Police Department. Interesting.
What intrigues me about this is that I know the Commissioner Gordon in that movie is going to be Jeffrey Wright. So basically, what we might get is a Jeffrey Wright TV series, which I am all for.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely hoping beyond all hope that this is like the Gotham Central comics, because
I've heard those are
they're
good.
phenomenal. But yeah, that's exactly what it is that it focuses on the Gotham PD and what it's like to be a cop in a world where Batman is the world's greatest detective, right? And it's like, well, do we, like, if we don't get this thing solved in 24 hours, like he'll just swoop in and solve it. So there's all of that stuff, but it's an interesting thing because I'm interested in the show, but this was an awkward time to announce a show about cops.
It is. I don't even know when this Batman movie is supposed to come out.
I don't know.
When is its projected release date now?
I don't even know. I have no idea. But have you seen all of the stuff that I forget the actor's name? He's been like saying that, like, at the start of the pandemic, they were like, so what are you, like, how are you keeping in shape to stay up as the Batman? He was just like, I'm not.
Oh.
He's just like,
Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, he's just like, I'm just hanging out in my sweatpants, man.
He works hard. Let him live how he wants.
Right?
Let him eat a pot pie.
Right?
Pot pie in both hands.
He was just like, yeah, I'm like, I don't think I've worked out since the pandemic started. Like, I think he started to get back in shape since then, but still, it was just like, this is wild that he'd just be like, yep, not working out. No thanks.
Good for him. Like, as long as he's got that jawline and those cheekbones, it's all I'm coming to the theater for.
Which is what he's had his entire life, so.
Right, yeah, those, you don't need to work out for those. There's probably abs already on the suit, I think. So the suit, it does the workout for you.
Yeah, Sam is like, he's probably double fisting those pot pies there.
Oh, man.
Yeah, how do you feel about movies that then get spin-off TV shows? Like, is that something you're interested in general?
Sure. I'm trying to think of an example.
Yeah, because I don't know if I have an example, at least off the top of my head. I'm sure there's something out there, but I guess you could consider some of the upcoming Disney Plus Marvel TV shows spinoffs.
That's true.
Yeah. I guess that's all along the same line. But yeah, like, is that something you would want to see more of?
Sure. Yeah. I'm all for a cinematic universe, to be honest. I know
Okay.
the concept is much put upon these days, but I always think it's fun. And I want everything to be connected to every other thing. I think it's nifty. If we can have more of that outside of waiting for one movie every 2 to 3 years or something like that. If I could also get like a good like 6, 8, 10, 12-hour TV series out of it that operates like a movie, but
Yeah.
I get to watch it, on my couch at my own speed.
Mhm.
I'm all for that, sure.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm thinking about this, I guess, in terms of like outside of superhero genres.
Mhm.
Like, would you want to see a You've Got Mail spin-off TV show? I don't know what
Sure.
coms are
I
coming out.
Now what do you want a TV show spinoff out of?
Hmm. Hmm. I want. I. I. I would say a good like spy thriller show. Like, give me a ooh yeah, give me a Money Penny spin-off show from James
Yeah.
Bond.
Yeah, I just want the rest of MI6. I just want a Money, Penny, Q, and M show.
Something like that.
Bond's always out in the field. Bond's never in the show.
It's
Sometimes you hear him on the phone.
it's a spoof of The Office, but it's Money Penny M and Q all being there. It's like, well, Bond showed up yesterday. He took the Aston Martin again. We weren't finished, but now we're gonna have to work on a new one because he's
I only
gonna wreck
installed
that one.
rockets on one
Yeah,
side of the thing so far.
right. Yeah. um, I don't know. Like yeah, like a good spy something would be good, especially if it's a story you weren't expecting. Like,
Mhm.
again, to name some comics, if you have if the read the comics Velvet, which is exactly
Yeah.
that. I think there's like 3 volumes in total, so it's a quick read, but it's basically the story of like, what if Money Penny was actually the original James Bond? Like, what if like before you knew her as the like handler, she
Mhm.
was the super spy and is like still just as good, and something happened and now she has to go back into the spy game. It's like, oh shit, you know.
I'm upset you already did those for the podcast before I got here, so I don't get to I can read them on my own, but when
You
do I
you
ever have
can
independent reading time?
you can find time on your own. I've also been catching up on a lot of comics recently in the
Mhm.
past 2 weeks. I've read a lot of stuff. So, but I don't know. What else would I want? I would like to see more animated spin-offs. Like, I
Hey,
would love to
yeah.
see something that is it is a spin-off of like, what if Night in the Museum had an animated spin-off?
Kyle, you're speaking my language. I
And I'm
want more Night at the Museum in any form.
and I'm not necessarily saying just like a cartoon adaptation of that. That's not what I'm looking for, but a spin-off, a continuation of the story of a certain character within that. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now let's follow their
Oh, man.
adventures after that.
Tiny Jed and Octavius Adventures.
There you go.
And they're tiny cartoons. They're like 5-minute shorts on
Yeah,
Disney
there
Plus.
you go.
Because this was, I believe, a 20th Century Fox property, so now it's theirs.
Yeah,
Little shorts, they teach you little quick bites about history.
yeah, that'd be interesting.
I want that. This is kind of a cop out answer because I want a TV show based on a movie that's already based on a TV show. I'd love a series from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe. I dug
Okay,
that cast a lot. I wish I had more than 3 films of time to spend with them.
yeah, yeah,
I want them to have a mini series somewhere. I want to see Chris Pine take to the captain's chair again.
interesting. Um, what else? Um, trying to think. Trying to think. Or it'd be interesting. I don't know how they would do it, but a live action spin-off of an animated thing, right? Of
Yeah.
like, what if there is somehow like a live action drama that follows the other two like J-pop stars from Perfect Blue, like that can continued on
I
their
like
own
that.
thing. Yeah,
There's a spin-off of Into the Spider-Verse that's just a hospital drama about Miles's mom.
yeah,
Very little superhero action in it.
yeah.
It's just ER.
That would be wild.
It's just ER, but you know in the back of your mind that her son
That's
is
the thing.
Spider-Man.
But that's the thing. That's almost exactly what Gotham Central is. It was
Yeah.
a cop drama, but set in a world that you knew superheroes existed in. So yeah, you would
Mm.
get the like hospital drama in that. You would get your normal stuff, but then you would get people who got like big bite marks out of them because the lizard is on the loose,
Oh,
right?
oh,
And they
to be
have to
taken down by the
deal with that.
lizard.
Yeah, or like what happens like yeah when the lizard takes over and they're like he turns a bunch of people into lizard monsters, and so like more and more people are being sent to the hospital because of that, or they're these like half lizard creatures and they have to like figure out how to stop them from continuing to change and stuff like that. That stuff would be fascinating.
This should be an upcoming Disney Plus series, and it just follows Rachel McAdams' character from Doctor Strange just being a doctor in a hospital in New York City in this world of superheroes where you are getting stuff like that.
Sam says, "What if it's Scrubs? It's more of a comedy."
Wouldn't say no to that. Rachel McAdams. She's got comedy chops.
Oh,
She's got all kinds of chops.
I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs. There you go. Yeah, like I think stuff like that would be fun. Stuff like a office drama set in a world of superheroes. They kind of did that. They had that
Yes.
show Powers. That show was not
Mhm.
very good at all. But they can do it if they do it right, and they don't
Mhm.
all need to be comedies or stuff like that. But I feel like it's an untapped way to like expand that world,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That'd be fun. So hopefully this Batman spin-off show is good. That was my hope for the Gotham show. That was their
Mhm.
initial thing of like, oh, this is gonna be like the story of Batman before he became Batman, and you see Jim Gordon rising in the ranks of the
Mhm.
police department and stuff. And it's like, well, he was actually not in Gotham before Batman was there. They were there around the same time, but sure. I like where this is going, how it's focusing on the police department, and then that show sucked and it was not good. But yeah, so I was like, no. Hopefully this one will get it right.
Mhm.
Melissa, one last
Yes.
thing that I see written down here. You apparently volunteered to be a host of a trivia night. What is this?
Yes. So I am in the Patreon Discord for the New Rockstars YouTube
Uh
channel, which
huh.
I feel like I mentioned often
Yeah,
because I
that's
ain't
fine.
up to much, but I hang out there. The YouTube channel that does like nerdy superhero comic book movie breakdowns.
Sure.
And we've been doing these trivia nights in the Discord. They did like Star Wars ones, they've done Game of Thrones ones. I've been doing these Disney trivia ones because
Sure.
that's a level on which I feel like I can compete. And they're saying we want more trivia nights. Like anybody can plan one. Like we'll give you the technical help for you to put it together on Kahoot and stream it to people.
Nice.
And somebody said, "What we should really get is a Shrek trivia night." And I'm like, "I can do that.
That
I
was
own
made
the
for you,
entire
Melissa.
I own the entire box set of Shrek, I'll have you know, on Blu-ray, I think."
We covered Shrek Retold on a Patreon specific thing of our own
We
podcast.
did.
So there you go.
Know things about
Patreon.com/the
Shrek.
Whatnauts. Go watch that for yourself. Yeah. So a Shrek trivia night.
Yes.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
I still have to rewatch the movies. I still have to write it. I still have to figure out how many questions is this going to be? Am I really when am I covering it? Is it just going to be the first two movies and a little about 3 and 4? Because I feel like that's the way the world treats them. Or am I going whole hog? Am I really going to ask a bunch of questions about 4, a movie I have heard from very few people who have seen it?
I think Shrek is one of the movies that have gotten TV show spinoffs, right?
Yeah, there's the Puss in Boots series.
Yeah. Interesting. Honey, that was one that got that. Huh. Okay. When is it? Do you have a date yet? Do you know?
No, I just decided tonight I would do this.
Oh,
So I
okay.
guess it is
For the moment.
whenever I have the time to watch 4 movies and write questions about them.
You got it.
So who knows when that may be.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Figure it out. That's fun though. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Stuff. Well, Melissa, I think I'm about pooped. I have cried all of the tears that I had. I've laughed so much that I cried. Yeah, this has been a fun one for sure. So I say we wrap things up there. A little bit of housekeeping, I guess, then. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more on our website, thewhatnauts.com, or your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts, and all of our shows will pop up right there. If you guys want to support us, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can do just that. You can toss us some money. We recently put up a Patreon exclusive episode of the of the Reactor Core. It was our second one in the Reactor Core, in which Melissa, you and I were reacting to movie trailers from the 2000s. Which was a lot of fun. I think you had said that this was some of the most fun you had making content here.
Oh, because there's no stakes to it. We're talking about an old movie trailer.
Trailers.
Nobody's any expectation for this content, so we can be as wacky as we want to be.
And we were wacky indeed. We even have a little bit of an Easter egg on that one. So stick around to the. I just lost my train of thought.
I can't pick it up because we recorded these so long ago.
The credits is what I meant to go say. But
I don't remember what this is.
This was
months ago we recorded this.
I'll remind you off air so we don't spoil it here. But it's fun.
You gotta email me these audio files because I gotta listen to these again.
Because you and I also need to record the third one in that series that we were gonna do, movie trailers from the 2000s. So be on the lookout for that down the road as well. But yeah. Go like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. We also want to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, who has been hanging out with us in the chat for helping us out and for supporting us for so long. It means a lot. It really, really does. Thank you. Yeah. That's about it. Go like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. I think we're sitting at like 79 subscribers on YouTube. So go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help spread the word there. You guys can watch the podcast on YouTube. You guys can watch the review show. You guys can watch the Reactor Core on YouTube. Crossplay is up there as well, but it's not a video podcast, but it's up there still. So. Go. Yeah, that about wraps us up though. So Melissa, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
There you go. And you guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, we are at the Whatnauts. But that about wraps us up for episode 102 of the Captain's Log. We will be back next week. Until then, adios.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed that one. I sure laughed a hell of a lot, and that's always a good feeling. Leave a comment down below if your mom has done some silly food thing. I don't know what that means, but go ahead and leave a comment. And in the meantime, go subscribe to our channel right up here in this corner, and go watch one of our other videos right down there. That would help us out a ton. And until next time, we will see you later. Bye.